Welcome to Revenue Scotland's YouTube channel. This video will show you how to submit an LBTT conveyance or transfer using our online portal. When you select the Create LBTT Return button, you'll be asked which type of return you want to complete. We are selecting Conveyance and Transfer. After confirming the return type, you will find yourself on the return summary screen. This screen gives you an overview of all the sections that need to be completed before submitting your return. The information under Contact Details for Agent has been pulled through from your account information. If you wish to make any changes to the information, you can do so by clicking the Amend button. You do not need to complete the sections in any particular order. We will begin with the About the Buyer section. You will first be asked who is the buyer. If you select an organisation registered with Companies House, you would be asked for the Companies House number and information on the company would be pre-populated. If you select another organisation, you'll be asked for further information on the type of organisation. Today we have selected a private individual. You will then be asked to input the buyer's details. At the bottom of the page, you are asked for the buyer's national insurance number. If the buyer does not have a national insurance number, click the link at the bottom of the page where you can see you're given the option to use an alternative ID type. When asked for the buyer's address, you can use our postcode lookup tool, which will complete the address fields for you. Alternatively, you can choose to enter the address manually. We will then be asked further questions on the buyer. We have answered no to each question. If you make a mistake here, you can use the back button to return to a previous screen. We are now back at the return summary page. You can see that we have an overview of the buyer's information we have just completed. At this point, you may want to save your return by clicking the Save Draft button at the bottom of the page. Please note that if you leave the return without saving a draft, your information will be lost. You can return to your drafts at any time using the dashboard. Your draft will also have been assigned an RS number, which you can use to communicate with us should you have any questions about your draft return. We will now complete the About the Seller section. Again, we start by asking who is the seller, where you have the same options as before. Again, have selected a private individual. You'll then be asked for the seller's first and last name before providing their address details. Again, you can use the postcode lookup tool. You'll now be taken back to the return summary page. We will continue with About the Property section of the return. Using the postcode lookup tool, we will provide the property address. You'll then be asked for further information, including the local authority and the title number. If applicable, a parent title number would also be included here. You'll then be asked if additional dwelling supplement or ADS will apply. We have selected yes. As you can see, this has brought us back to the return summary screen. If after completing a section you want to change any information you can do so by using the Edit button. A new section about the additional dwelling supplement is now visible. We will complete this section next. You'll be asked if the buyer is replacing their main residence. We have selected yes. You're then asked for the value of the total consideration liable to ADS and the amount of ADS liability from the new main residence. You now see a question asking if the buyer intends to sell their residence within 18 months. We have selected yes. This generates a postcode lookup for the address of the main residence that will be sold. The next page asks if relief is being claimed on the ADS consideration. Selecting yes will present you with further questions about the relief. We are selecting no today. Back on the return summary page, we will complete information about the transaction. Our property type is residential. We are now asked for the effective date, the relevant date, and the date of contract or conclusion of missives. You can input this information using the calendar tool. You'll be asked further questions about the transaction. For our return, we will be selecting no to each of these questions. We have no linked transactions and the sale is not part of the sale of a business. On the reliefs on this transaction page, you can see when we select yes, we are given a list of relief types to choose from. We will be selecting no for this return before answering the next question on future events. You'll now see a screen that requires information on the total consideration, VAT, non-chargeable and total consideration. Input your values and then select next. On the return summary page, you can now see that the About the Calculation section has been populated based on the information given in previous sections of the form. Land and Buildings Transaction Tax is a self-assessed tax, and you can use the Edit feature to make any changes to these figures where appropriate. We have now completed all of the sections, and we are ready to submit our return using the button at the bottom of the page. You'll be asked how you are paying. As this is a test environment, we only have two options: backs and cheque. If you have already signed up to pay by direct debit with Revenue Scotland, this option would also be available to you at this point. If after reading the declaration statements you are content to give your agreement, you must declare this by clicking the box beside the statement. You cannot submit and make a return without completing the declaration statements. Our return has been submitted, and we can see the confirmation page here. It contains details of the submission date, the return reference, and the date when payment to Revenue Scotland is due. You can also find more information on how to pay for your return here, as well as information on penalties. You can print this confirmation screen for your records. If you had any questions at this stage, you could choose to send us a secure message from this screen. We will return to the dashboard. Here you can see the return reference under our outstanding balance section, as we have yet to pay the tax due. The return reference, submitted date, return balance and status can all be viewed here from the dashboard. After payment had been received and the tax due had been paid, this return would no longer be viewable in the outstanding balance section. You can find all of your returns under the All Returns section. That completes our conveyance and transfer return under Land and Buildings Transaction Tax. If you have any questions, you can contact us at lbtt@revenue.scot or on 03000 200 310. Lines are open Monday to Friday from 9 AM to 4 PM. However, They do not open until 10 a.m. on a Thursday due to staff training.